Wasn't planning on doing this today, but in honor of Miscarriage Awareness Month, I'm gonna tell you guys about my miscarriage story. Hey y'all, what's up? It's me, Miss Ruby, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are not currently subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. Feel free to check out some of my content if you enjoy it. I really appreciate you subscribing and supporting me because I intend on bringing you as much really good, really fruitful content as I possibly can on my journey here on YouTube. The purpose of me doing this video is not to get pity. I have worked through the pain of my miscarriage, but I definitely want to be a part of the conversation because one of the things I learned when I went through my miscarriage is that it's something that happens all too often, but is still taboo, and not enough people really talk about it. Nobody really told me about their miscarriage until after I went through mine, and they told me to relate and to help me get through it, and it was very helpful. But I think it would have been a little bit more helpful had I known a little bit before. So if you are pregnant right now, don't take this video and be discouraged, because so many women have pregnancies that end in miscarriage, but so many more women have pregnancies that end in live births, and you're more likely to fall into that category. So here's my story. So I am married. I got married in 2015, and we wanted to wait on kids, but by the time we got into our home, we purchased a home at the beginning of 2017, we decided that we do want to start a family. I had been saying forever that I really wanted to get pregnant in the fall months because I really wanted to have a baby in May. Like, that was my goal because my birthday's in April, his birthday's in June. And so yeah, that was my goal. But I was like, you know what, let's start trying a little early, because a lot of people say it's kind of hard to get pregnant when you wait, and I'm almost 30 at that time. I think I was 28. And so I was just like, let's try right now. And this was in April, like right after I turned 28 is when we decided to start trying. And lo and behold, we got pregnant right away. Like, I didn't even expect to get pregnant that fast, actually. So by May 5th, I took a pregnancy test and it was positive. I wanted to wait, actually, because I had been feeling kind of like nauseous and stuff, but I didn't want to psych myself out. But sure enough, I did go to the doctor that day and got confirmation, and I was pregnant. So I was just like amazed. Like, I didn't really know how to feel because I really didn't want to get pregnant that early, but of course it was still a blessing. And so my husband and I just kind of kept it under wraps because we wanted to wait to tell everybody, but we did tell my family. And I didn't tell them like the day of, but I told them like a couple weeks, like a week or two after finding out, my close family. And that was just because it turned out that one of my other sisters was pregnant as well, and she had announced in our family group chat. So I was like, hey, might as well use this opportunity to announce it as well. And at the time, another one of my sisters was already pregnant, openly pregnant. So it was just cool. It was like amazing because we were all three pregnant at the same time, and it was just beautiful. And so we went along through the month of May, and I'm going through my schedule, and I scheduled my 8-week appointment. It kind of sucked because when you're first pregnant, you want to know what's going on with your body, but they made me wait until 8 weeks to go to my first appointment. So leading up till then, I was just doing my best to like take care of myself, and I wasn't doing everything like I wasn't super cautious. Like, I was still working out, but I didn't really think that it would have an effect, because I heard that if you work out before you're pregnant, then it's okay for you to continue to work out as long as you don't do anything too strenuous, which I didn't. One thing I did do was take an impromptu trip across the country. I have no idea if that had any effect on my situation or not, but at the time there was just some family issues and I really needed to be there. So I did take a trip across the country. But other than that, I was pretty much like taking it easy. And so when I was about 7 weeks pregnant, I noticed that like I was kind of having pain when I urinated. And I had never experienced anything like this because like I had never had a yeast infection or any type of like vaginal infection, anything like that. So I just thought maybe it has something to do with the pregnancy, but it definitely concerned me. So I went to the doctor and I told them what I was feeling. And not only was I having pain, sorry I left this out, but I noticed that there was a little bit of spotting of blood in my urine as well, which definitely scared me, but I chose not to panic. So when I went to the doctor, told them everything that I was experiencing, and they checked me out, and they said that I had a UTI. So like I said, I had never had a UTI before, so I didn't really know what to expect. And so they prescribed me antibiotics, I believe, and I'm not really big on medicine, period, so I try my best not to have to depend on it. So I had read that I could like drink some cranberry juice and like alter my diet in some other ways, like stay away from like yeast, I think, and stay away from like really sugary stuff. And I think I was supposed to stay away from yogurt. I don't know, either eat yogurt, stay away from yogurt. I don't remember, but I pretty much just looked up the natural approach, and I started to do that and decided if I stop feeling the pain within like a day, then it will have, gone away. And so that's what I did, or that's what I did. But instead of the doctor sending me home after giving me that prescription, she said, I want you to go get an ultrasound just in case, because we want to check on the baby. And I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, I live about an hour away from the nearest hospital that can actually give me an ultrasound. So I just had to like take an impromptu trip down to this hospital and get checked out. So I went down and I had the ultrasound. Now, I was feeling mixed feelings because, like I said, I was a week away from my scheduled ultrasound, which would have been the first time that I got to see my baby. And so I was like kind of excited because I'm like, well, I'm about to get an ultrasound right now, so cool. So I told my husband, not realizing that they were going to send me to like the ultrasound technician and not to the actual like doctor who would sit there with me and like let me see the screen. So I didn't know that. Anyway, it was nearing the evening at this time, and so they were beginning to like close as well. I guess doctors were starting to go home. So I went down and I got my ultrasound, and the technician told me right away, like, it was like in a dark room, and she's just like, all I can do is look at you. I can't give you any information. I'm gonna send the results to the doctor, and the doctor's gonna let you know afterward. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying not to be nervous. So I'm just like talking to the ultrasound tech as she's doing the ultrasound, and just like, just making small talk. And she's like just moving everything around, checking everything. And then she got silent. And like, that is a no-no. Like, you do not get silent with somebody who is in my situation, like that is the dead giveaway that something's going on. And I'm like, is everything okay? And she's just like, sorry, I can't discuss the results with you, but you're going to be able to get your results right away. So she tries to kind of go back to just being casual. But I'm just like reading her body language and like how she's staring at this screen. I had no idea what to expect, honestly. Like, I was not expecting a miscarriage because I try to be optimistic. So I was not expecting a miscarriage at all, but I did think that something was going on that needed to be discussed. And so ultrasound ended, and now I'm like waiting to talk to the doctor. And like I said, doctors are beginning to go home. So I feel like I waited in that waiting room for like 2 hours, but it may have only been an hour, hour and a half. The next thing you know, I get a call to come back in, and they said that the doctor was supposed to give me my results had gone home for the night, but she would call me. So she called in like on the hospital phone, and she gets on the phone with me, and she's just like,
just wanted to let you know that I got the results back from your ultrasound, and I'm not going to declare anything as of now, but I do want to let you know that we didn't hear a heartbeat.
And so I was like, okay, because this is all new to me, like, I'm like, okay. I didn't even know, like, are you supposed to hear a heartbeat by now? Are you not? Like I said, I was about 7.5 weeks pregnant. So when she said that, it was kind of devastating because for a doctor to say that as if it's indicative of something that I may or may not need to be concerned about, it kind of made me worried. And so I'm like, well, like, what does this mean? She was like,
we're not going to declare it a miscarriage right now because you do have a UTI, and we want to let your body work through that as well. And you're only 7 weeks pregnant. Sometimes when you're 7 weeks pregnant, you can't hear a heartbeat from the baby. So we'd like to give it a few more days and have you come back in, and we'll check then.
And I'm like, okay. And so then she's like trying to tell me something else, but like I'm at this point like tearing up, and like the nurses are standing around me because I was on their phone. And so I'm just like, I didn't really know how to handle it. So I'm just like, okay, all right, okay. And I just like hung up. And the nurse is like, is everything okay? Are you okay? And when someone asks you, are you okay? When you're not okay, it just makes it way worse. So I just like couldn't handle it. I just walked out. I know they was looking at me like, dang, she must have just got some bad news, and they couldn't help me, but I couldn't. I just walked out and I was by myself, mind you. And so I just like walked to my car and I was just crying. I couldn't stop crying. It's like something in me just knew that I had lost my baby. And I, like I said, went into this appointment not even expecting it. So I went in my car and I sat in my car and I remember recording a video and sending it to my family.
Sure what this is, but I wasn't expecting this information, so I'm waiting for them to call me back to give me more information.
When I got home, I talked to my husband about it and I just told him everything, like what the situation was. And we just decided we were going to pray about it and we were just going to be optimistic about it. And what our prayer was, God, honestly, we want this baby. We really want this baby, but ultimately we want whatever your will is for our life, and we know that you're going to get us through it. And we just ask that you cover us, that you comfort us, and that you just tell us, like, show us whatever it is that we need to do to take care of the situation at hand, so that we can take care of our baby.
As far as like information, like we were discussing, one thing I will say that's really interesting correlation is that the night before Sunday, Saturday night, we had intercourse, and then Sunday I noticed that I wasn't nauseous anymore. Like usually every night, like clockwork, I get incredibly nauseous. And it's funny because I think Saturday I had gotten nauseous, like I was nauseous like all day. It was either Friday or Saturday I was nauseous like almost all day. And I remember complaining to CJ like, dang, my nausea has been all day. And then Sunday I did hair all day until like 11 o'clock at night, and I didn't feel any nausea, and I didn't even notice until I got home to go to sleep. And then Monday I didn't feel any nausea, and last night I didn't feel any nausea. Still been difficult for me to eat. I still haven't had appetite. I still have been getting really tired and like groggy, but there's no nausea, so that's interesting. And then as far as the spotting goes, I'm not spotting super frequently. Today I haven't spotted yet. Hopefully it's gone. It doesn't hurt as much when I pee today, but they still want me to get the antibiotics for the UTI. But yeah, there's nothing we can really do at this point. Just, of course, we're thinking about all the things I may have done wrong in the first 2 months. But I don't want to stress myself with that stuff because I believe that, whatever God's plan is, it's going to happen regardless. So, yeah. That's it. I think that's it. Okay.
So the next day, and I think the day after, the bleeding had gone from being a bright red to being like a dark brown, almost like a discharge. It was kind of thick, like in this picture. And I didn't really know what it meant, but just in case you are going through this is what I experienced. Friday morning comes, and that was the day of my appointment.
It's Friday, June 16th, exactly 6 weeks after I found out that I was pregnant. And my update is that I am no longer pregnant. And I just wanted to send this update because I know you're curious how things went. But we went to the doctor for what was supposed to be our first ultrasound, first appointment with the OBGYN to see the baby. And interestingly, this morning I actually started bleeding really bad, and basically like I was on my period, and I was cramping really bad too. So I took some pain meds this morning, pulled myself together as much as I could to go to the doctor, and just told them what was up. And when I got there, they just did an evaluation. They did transvaginal ultrasound as well as over the belly, and didn't see anything. So the midwife assumed that I had probably already begun to have the miscarriage. So she called in a doctor because my bleeding was excessive, and the doctor did a more thorough evaluation. I think she did an unofficial DNC, which is basically, I think, the surgical term for if you go in to have them surgically remove the baby. But she basically went inside of me, which was really painful and uncomfortable, to try and remove any and all traces of the baby that was left, tissues and so on and so forth. CJ was in there with me, my mom was in there with me, so that was good. But it was just, you think that when you go through that amount of pain and discomfort, it will be when you're actually delivering the baby. So it was really hard to have to experience that to get rid of the baby. But these things happen. We've been talking about this, so common, and we get past it. So CJ and I have talked about it, and although these next couple of days are probably going to be hard for me because I'll be on all type of medication. They asked me not to work for 2 weeks to kind of stay on bed rest for the next couple of days, and I'll be in a lot of pain because they sent me home with medication to continue to expel whatever is remaining of the baby. And they said it's going to be really painful. So although I have to still go through a little bit more for the next week or two, it'll be over and life will go on, and I'll be making some changes, of course. And then we'll get back on the ball and we'll try again. So, sucks. But we've had a few days to come to terms with reality, and so I just want to say I thank you and appreciate all your support, your love. I love you too. I'm good. I'll be a little emotional, it's normal. But on the bright side, I finally was able to eat a cold ham sandwich for the first time in a long time, so things are looking up.
So after taking the saddle tech and everything, I can say that wasn't painful at all. I think that I had gone through the bulk of the pain already, so when I passed everything else, it didn't hurt. I followed the doctor's instructions and I was fine. And then I went to go use the bathroom one of the times, and I just heard something plop into the toilet, and I look down and I see this. I was pretty much certain that was like my baby. But I remember showing the picture to a couple of people, and they're like, no, I don't think so. And it wasn't until recently when I saw something on the internet about miscarriages, and I compared images, and I'm like, that was my baby. And the reason why that matters to me to note right now is because I know it probably seems crazy, but I mean, like, had I known for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, I don't know, maybe I would have taken it out of the toilet and done something. I don't know. I know some people like have memorial services for their miscarriages because that is a child, that is a life. But for me to just like flush it down the toilet, it just seems so insensitive, so inhumane, and it sucks that I have that memory because now I know for sure that was the baby, and but. You live and you learn, and life goes on, and that's just the truth. So I try not to be too sentimental, too attached to it. But what I will say is, from that point on, it was just a very emotional journey for me. Still to this day, when I think about that baby, I still cry. Because you grow attached to your child. Like once you get confirmation from the doctor that you're pregnant, you start making plans and you start getting excited and mapping everything out. You map your whole life out. You change your whole perception of your world changes because you're expecting a child, and then when you lose the child, it's just like I just remember feeling like, man, you were alive and then you died, and it's like I never got a chance to hold you, to tell you that I loved you, to like really be there for you. I felt like I failed my baby, and it wasn't even that I felt entitled to keeping that baby because of that. Because things happen. It don't matter how much money you got in the bank, how well you think you're doing. You're human, and we're living in a fallen, sinful world. So bad things are going to happen, period. There's no way around it. But a part of me did feel like it was just a devastation because you try your best to do the best that you can, and then when you get reminded of that reality, it just doesn't feel good. I'm really proud of myself because I'm a lot stronger today than I was when it actually happened. So yeah, we just did our best to get through those following weeks, knowing that as soon as we were able to, we were going to try again. And I remember we binge watched, I believe it was This Is Us, which is one of our favorite shows still to this day. It was hard to watch that considering what that show is all about, but it was, just something that we did together. His job sent me some beautiful flowers for comfort, and that was amazing because let me tell y'all, prior to that, I wasn't a flower girl. Like, Of course, I could always appreciate the beauty of a flower, but I was never the type that's like, I need you to buy me flowers all the time. Like, I didn't even have a favorite flower or anything like that. I still don't, but since then, I've grown to appreciate flowers so much more because I literally put them in the room next to me, where I spend a lot of time just kind of like being sad and depressed. I spent a lot of time in the room crying, and they smelled good. So it was just kind of like, it made me realize why people send people flowers when they experience loss, because the flowers in a sense signify life and beauty, and there truly is life and beauty all around us. Even when we lose life and when we lose beauty, there's still so much more that's always surviving and thriving, and for me that was therapeutic. So I really appreciated those flowers that they sent me more than I would have even expected. I cut my hair. That was like kind of the rebellious kind of side of me. I guess they say when when you go through loss, there are like multiple stages of grief. Whatever stage that was me just like, F it. It was like, honestly, it was like I had already been contemplating cutting my hair, and I had been holding on to my dead ends for so long, for length, not really thinking about the health of my hair and just not really knowing what to do. But I when I lost my baby, I just realized like life ends. You can have all the expectations in the world, and everything can just turn around on you tomorrow. And why wait to cut your hair when it's something that you've been thinking about doing? And since then, I have done a lot less procrastinating on things that I really care about than I used to do. I mean, obviously, it still happens sometimes, but that was what that moment was like for me. I cut off like 4 or 5 inches of hair, and it felt good. It really did feel good. Like I felt, it made me realize why women cut their hair when they experience loss or breakups or whatever. I don't think it's just to spite anybody. I think it's really for a renewing, a spiritual renewing. It's something, it's like an action, like a physical action that you take really to address something that's going on with you spiritually. And so these are kind of the aftermath things that happen, but I just wanted to share that with y'all in case you were interested in knowing. But 2 months later, after the doctor gave us the okay to try again, we tried again. The miscarriage happened mid-June, July, August. So by the end of August, we were pregnant again. And the beautiful thing about that is that I got pregnant exactly when I had always wanted to, and I ended up having my baby in May. Throughout the whole journey, although it is very emotional, I left it in God's hands. My husband and I both left it in God's hands, and we prayed over our next baby too. And of course, it was hard being optimistic and telling people it was just, we can save that for another video. But the beautiful thing about that, I just feel like keeping it in God's hands, God, maybe he needed us to go through it for a reason. Maybe so that I can tell this story. Maybe it just wasn't our time, but ultimately he blessed us with a beautiful baby right after. I had a great pregnancy. I mean, no pregnancy is wonderful. There's going to be the ups and downs, but no major complications through my pregnancy. My daughter is healthy. She's beautiful. We have our happy family, and I'm so glad that we didn't give up. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, hopefully to fill in any gaps. If some of you are having questions, if you unfortunately are going through the process of a miscarriage, but more importantly, to encourage you if you've been there, if you've been through that, some more traumatic than what I experienced, just know that you can conceive again, and you can have a great pregnancy, and you can have a healthy baby soon after having that miscarriage. You are not defective, and you're not alone. It happens to a lot more women than we realize. If you have had a miscarriage, please share any information you have below. That way other women who may be seeing this video and just like searching for comfort and searching for a connection, then they can hopefully connect with you as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. God bless you guys, and let me know if you have any video requests in the comments below, and I'll be sure to do my best to fulfill them. God bless you.